Well, about 65% of its sales every year are generated from the US, so there's a whole other component to its sales generated elsewhere. Does the price increase matter so much for its non-US sales?
It's a follow the leader type thing. If the Department of Defense start paying less money and Boeing starts paying less money, then Airbus, even though it's a foreign company, they'll start paying less money. And I just saw on the bottom of the screen, it says, could this be the next Valeant? This is not going to unwind like Valeant. I want to be intellectually honest with this. There's many similarities between the two companies. As we saw, Valeant had a quick unwind and just a huge drop to it. You're not going to see this with TransDigm, but it doesn't mean with one, I say Trump tweet, with one statement from the DOD, with one something from the OIG office about this, you could see this down 35, 40% in a matter of a week, 2 weeks. And then the rest of the unwind will take time. So this is not in the same, it has many of the components of Valeant, which is an over-levered company dependent on raising prices, but don't expect to see it down 85% in 12 months.
Well, we're at 234.06 right now. Can I ask where you shorted it?
Oh, God. I mean, I've been short. This is my second report on the company. So I'm short the stock at higher prices. But I mean, this goes much lower. Once the DOD starts paying attention, and they're starting to pay attention, there's been wonderful work done by a group called the Capital Forum. So for people who want to see the actual changes in government, I recommend you subscribe to the Capital Forum. And what they showed recently is as TransDigm was actually hiding the ownership of their subsidiaries because they were afraid that the government would actually force to block bid them to lowering prices.
Okay, so
here's a company that if the prices just stayed stable to the government, forget about raising prices. If they had to keep the prices stable, this stock could be down $60 right there from where it is today.
Well, let's just have a look at how the stock has performed, because over its lifetime, it's really only a little bit off its all-time high. Yes, it did have a dip, and now we're at 232.89, but it's never been to 300, let's say. We're still pretty far up there. So you say $60 could get lopped off that. Not so bad, we'll take it.
$60, $70 is fast.
Yeah.
And then the rest is to see how everything plays out, how Boeing goes with insourcing, how vigilant the DOD is with price controls. But the key thing is this: the company, much like Valeant, and was hiding with Philidor, the company is using different ways. Yeah. Whether it be the way they register with the government, or a concern I brought up yesterday about a private equity firm owned by the CEO, and we don't exactly know all the relationships between what he has with TransDigm and his other group. We know one thing: the company is playing fast and loose with the rules. Yeah. And when you do that, and you maintain this type of leverage, it's a dangerous investment.
Well, let me ask you, have you spoken to management?
No, I've not spoken to management.
So how can you be absolutely certain they don't have a wonderful excuse for what's going on? How do you know that they're playing hard and fast with the rules?
Oh, I'm sure they have a wonderful excuse. They always do. Remember the movie Shawshank? There's not a guilty man at Shawshank. I've never seen a company not have a wonderful excuse. Valeant had a wonderful excuse about Philidor. They're going to have a great excuse. But when the DOD says, listen, I want to see all the registrations of all your subsidiaries, and I want a 15% price cut across the board, no matter what excuse you're going to have, it's not going to affect the underlying.
Two more quick questions, if I can, Andrew. If you take a look at RV, relative valuation and so forth in the Bloomberg, you'll be able to see that some of the competitors. Are any of the competitors in this space doing the same thing? It would seem a little bit odd if it was the only company doing it.
Oh, God, and not even close. If you look at the gross margins of their competitors, it's almost a joke. There's no one even close. I think, and I don't want to be exactly quoted, but I would say X Software, out of every company in the S&P 500 that sells to the government, I'm pretty sure TransDigm has the highest gross margins by far. Okay. They dwarf the rest of the industry with their gross margins.